Hi everyone, Ryan here from Fight Game Analysis, and today we are going to be talking about the upcoming fight between Katlyn Chookagian and Amanda Ribas. But before we jump into that, if you've been enjoying the content, please go ahead and click on the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. Alright, so we have a fight coming up here at 125 pounds between Katlyn Chookagian and Amanda Ribas. Now, Katlyn Chookagian is like the perennial, I don't want to call her gatekeeper. I'll just say the number 2 in the division at 125 pounds, right? For the most part, she's basically beaten everybody other than the champ, Valentina Shevchenko. Lost to her back in early 2020. She did lose to Jessica Andrade since then. Look, I'll be honest, 100% that was a legit loss. Maybe you could make the argument that the stoppage was a little bit early. She was clearly hurt. She went down. She balled up. So I guess you could say that she wasn't intelligently defending herself, right? So that's why the stoppage happened. I would get that. Solid argument. Another one would be there was only a few seconds left in the round. She was balled up, so maybe she wasn't going to eat that much punishment. It was still early in the fight. Kind of let it go. I don't know. Nevertheless, she lost that fight. I will say this. I thought she was doing really well. I thought she was winning that fight up until that point when Andrade landed that shot. Yes, that's a part of the game. Yes, you get hit, you go down, you lose. That's it. But when I'm going back and I'm evaluating the film, I don't look at that the same way as somebody who would have lost that whole fight and then got knocked out with 5 seconds left. Right? Just a little bit different. So my point is she's got a very high skill level. The only person who's gone out there and dominated her and beat her is the same person who goes out and dominates and beats everybody at 125 pounds. And that's the champ, Valentina Shevchenko. She beat everybody else, even beat the champ's sister, right? Amanda Ribas, a little bit different story. Amanda Ribas is moving up from 115 pounds, right? That's where she typically competed. She's been at 125 pounds only one time before. That was when she went up and fought Paige VanZant. Beat her with ease. If I remember correctly, I think that was Paige VanZant's last fight in the UFC. Now look, it was impressive and all, 100%, no doubt. But we're not going to quite say that the VanZant's the same fighter or the same caliber of fighter on the same level as a fighter as Katlyn Chookagian. Now, when we think about Amanda Ribas, black belt in judo, black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and she's slick on the ground, explosive, athletic. We've seen her land some good shots. She shot to fame by beating two of the women who are I don't know if I want to say the most popular in the UFC, but they got a lot of hype. They got a lot of popularity, right? Mackenzie Dern, Paige VanZant. She goes out there and beats them both. That immediately jumped her level of notoriety up. All of a sudden, everybody knew her. Man, I remember after she won that Paige VanZant fight. Ooh, now that I think maybe it was Mackenzie Dern. But you looked at her Instagram and you just kept refreshing it, and those followers were just, man, they were just rattling up. She just immediately shot up in notoriety after those 2 wins. But then she goes out there and she runs into a real skilled fighter, right? A real skilled Muay Thai practitioner in Marina Rodriguez. And she got caught, man. She got caught. Her flaws got exposed and she got stopped, right? Got caught with a nasty right hand, slick right in the middle of her punches. She keeps her chin up. She doesn't have the best entries. Doesn't use feints all that well. She could become predictable using that 1-2. It's like, yeah, it's fast and she's explosive and she's got some athleticism to her. So when she gets it off, it looks good. But when you're going in there with somebody who's seen those types of things before, it's not all that difficult to figure out. Went in there in their very next fight against Verna Jandiroba, got caught and hurt again. Right? She ended up getting the victory in that fight. Right? Figured out a way to come out with it, no doubt. Right? Because she is a skilled fighter. But we also got to call it like it is. So now she's got flaws in her striking. When we're looking at her, when we talk about her being a black belt in judo and a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, we all understand that. That's going to be how she handles herself on the ground. But the judo's, what exactly is that, right? I don't know. I guess the best way I know what it is as far as a martial art. I'm not saying it that way. And I know what it is as far as the takedowns and everything. The most famous practitioner of judo that we can think of from the UFC is Ronda Rousey. Before that, I don't know, maybe Carl Parisian. Look, but if we're being perfectly honest with each other, judo is not necessarily the most successful art that we've seen transition over to MMA. If she gets in the clinch, can she get a few takedowns and stuff here and there? Does she got some nice movement? Yeah. Does she got some powerful hips and can she get some stuff? Sure. But if it was me, I would much rather have her takedowns be the type of takedowns that you see in Collegiate 1 wrestling, right? I'd like to see her get in deep on on doubles and single legs and transition and run the pipe and all of those things that you see, those chain wrestling from one movement to another, and all of those things that you see wrestlers do. I think it's much more effective trying to get your opponent to the ground doing that than what you see from typical judo type stuff. So just a thought when you think about it. And then not only that, she's moving up to 125 pounds, moving up in weight. She already wasn't big at 115. What's she like, 5'4"? Now she's moving up to 125, and she's fighting somebody who's probably the tallest in the division, in Katlyn Chookagian, at 5'9". So she's got a significant height disadvantage, significant reach disadvantage. Already had problems with her striking. She's going in there with Katlyn Chookagian, a person who excels at her striking and excels at a style that I think is particularly going to give Amanda Ribas trouble. She fights very long, right? Loves using the push kicks, keeping her opponent at distance. Loves working behind the jab and right hands. When her opponents come forward, she's got a nice little check left hook that she throws. I think it's going to be trouble for Amanda Ribas on the feet. She keeps her chin up. Like I said, she doesn't use feints, doesn't have the best entries, comes in behind a lot of jabs and 1-2s. I think Chookagian's going to be able to figure that out. She's got a great team behind her with Mark Henry. Should this fight find itself going to the ground? To be perfectly honest, I think if it does go to the ground, Chookagian's going to initiate it. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this fight goes to the ground because Amanda Ribas moves forward, lands a right hand, hurts Chookagian, gets it into the clinch, gets a judo throw, gets it down. Right? That, I think, would be her best possibility of winning. I don't think she can win on the feet. If this fight turns into a 15-minute Muay Thai match, Amanda Ribas loses. And I think she loses definitively. Like 30-27 loses. But let's just say she, lands a strike, gets it to the ground. She's got a little bit of control. I think that's her best chance at moving forward with it. Let's not forget that Katlyn Chookagian is no bum on the ground. She trains under John Danaher, has a brown belt under John Danaher. Now, you may look and say a brown belt is not a black belt, and you would be right. A black belt is far superior to a brown belt when we look in the world of, traditional martial arts. In this sense, we're talking about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But we also have to be honest with each other in the sense that all brown belts aren't created equal. All black belts aren't created equal. Now, off the top of my head, I don't know the lineage that Amanda Ribas trained under. Now, I'm not doubting how skilled she is. We've already seen what she's been able to pull off. But what I am saying is let's not underestimate what Katlyn Chookagian brings to the table just because it's a brown belt. She's training under John Danaher, man. There are some killers up there in that dude's camp, right? He arguably, I don't even know if that's arguably. If you look in the world of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, no-gi competitions, I believe it's unquestionably there's one man all the way at the top and then everybody else is underneath. That's Gordon Ryan. Gordon Ryan trains underneath John Danaher. You see him training. If you look on their Instagram and stuff, you've seen pictures of him. You've seen him working with Katlyn Chookagian and things like that. So she knows exactly what she's doing on the ground. We saw her get a takedown at her last fight against Jennifer Maia. She was able to control her and stuff like that. Certainly no bum. Knows exactly what she's doing. I'm not saying that she's going to win the fight from her back or anything like that, but I don't think she's going to be taken down and dominated either. May find herself in a bad position here or there. Think she'll be perfectly fine. So look, at the end of the day, when I look at this one, I think it's pretty simple. I think this is going to be a story of Amanda Ribas not being able to figure out how to close the distance. Katlyn Chookagian is going to be able to keep her at the distance for all 15 minutes. She's going to keep her at the end of those push kicks, going to keep her at the end of those jabs, and she's just going to work her, man. And it's just going to be that simple. It's not going to be very exciting. Chookagian's going to land some good shots. I think Ribas is going to look confused. Don't think she's going to be able to land that much. I think those flaws are going to once again get exposed. Chookagian doesn't have that much power. She moves around a lot, gives a lot of angles, a lot of different looks. If she wants to sit down on her shots, maybe she can go in there and land a hard right hand and hurt Ribas at some point. I don't know how exactly that's going to play out, but I do think this is going to be a clear victory for Katlyn Chookagian. I think the line looks pretty good. It's like, minus 175 or something like that. I was a little surprised. You've got Ribas moving up in weight with the performances being, losing 2 fights ago to Rodriguez, getting caught against Janda Rowe, but just the way that it all plays out. I think Chookagian's kind of being underestimated in this one. So let me know what you guys think. Is there something that I'm missing? Is Ribas gonna move up in weight? And we're gonna say that, she looks better because cutting down to 115 was a nasty weight cut. She comes up to 125, and even though she's undersized, she's gonna be stronger. Is Chookagian slipping a little bit? Let me know what you guys think.